welcome. Welcome everybody. It's so very nice to have you here. I'm always looking forward to this time together. And today I wanted to speak a little bit about our upcoming 3-week intensive that begins on August 10th. Awakening is the most transformative experience. Realizing the true nature of I. And what happens before, during, and after awakening. A lot of territory to cover in this intensive. And today I want to focus on one little tiny part of that, which is our ability to be present to and embody difficult and expanded states. States like anger, fear, bliss, joy, happiness. You know, that capacity to experience what arises is one of the prerequisites for awakening and for freedom. Being able to be here when past is present. And oftentimes we have challenges, challenges with the more difficult emotional states like anger and fear. But also, if there are issues of capacity in the nervous system, in the capacity to be here, we might experience also challenges with embodying of the expanded states, like bliss and joy and happiness. I was just recently speaking with a student who had some awakening type of experiences, or waking up to just more openness and expansion. And that can be challenging. That can be challenging for the physical body. That can be challenging in many different ways, even though it can be very powerful and beautiful as well. We often have a lot of conditioning around, and especially on the spiritual path, oftentimes we have a judgment on emotional states like anger. Or we have some concerns or even fear around states like fear, which both naturally arise here. And as a matter of fact, it's really, really powerful when we can actually be present to that. When fear or anger arises, when we can embody it, when we can allow for the nervous system to complete that cycle. There's so much conditioning in general and social conditioning also around not experiencing stronger emotions. And when I say embody or experience, I don't necessarily mean to express them to others. Sometimes it's necessary. But what I mean by that is to actually acknowledge them fully, energetically in our experience. And to allow them to be here just the way they are. Because when these emotional states can be here and move through, then they are going to subside. And usually that is going to help us to come to rest in presence. When it comes to the more expanded states like love, we of course, these are joyous, like love, bliss, happiness, spaciousness. These are joyous experiences. And of course, we are very happy and elated when they happen. However, as with other states, there are sometimes limits based on the past. When the mind, when the ego arises and it's concerned about these expanded states, but also physically. I remember long before awakening, when I started to experience these much more expanded states and much higher energy in the body, And I remember it took some years actually for the body, for the energy system to get used to these more higher frequencies of energy, you know, before, because otherwise, you know, when that energy arises, it's so different, it's so powerful, that sometimes there's just simply not just conditioning wise, but also physically, there's some resistance to that. So we are going to speak about this a little more in our upcoming 3-week intensive, you know, naturally, how naturally we can be present to this, and of course about many other things connected to awakening and to that very powerful transformation, and also about what happens after awakening and what is necessary, what is needed, because as I have said before many times, awakening is just a beginning. It's a powerful, amazing, and important, necessary experience, but it's just the beginning. I'm so very much looking forward to our time together. And if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe and comment. And you have been much more, and I really appreciate that. It helps us to be more visible. It helps for more people to enjoy this, to benefit from this. And I'm looking forward to seeing you or meeting you in a program.